Scuderia Ferrari has successfully concluded its scheduled and highly anticipated filming day at the Mugello circuit, a track owned by the team and located in the picturesque region of Tuscany, Italy. This particular session carried substantial significance for the historic Formula One team based in Maranello, as it marked a crucial step forward in their ongoing efforts to improve the competitiveness of the SF-25. Both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton took to the track to gather important preliminary data related to the newly introduced and revised rear suspension layout. This updated configuration adopts a pull rod design, representing a significant shift in technical philosophy for Ferrari's 2025 Formula One car. This outing was the first time that this revised suspension layout had been run in real-world conditions, and within the Scuderia and its global fan base, there is cautious optimism that this innovation could serve as a much-needed foundation to help reverse the difficult trajectory that has unfortunately defined Ferrari's 2025 campaign thus far. The Maranello-based team views this development as an opportunity to better understand the new suspension geometry before it potentially makes its official racing debut at the next round of the championship, the Belgian Grand Prix at the iconic Spa-Francorchamps circuit. So let's take a look at the importance of the suspension test for Leclerc and the Ferrari technical team. Assessing and interpreting the impact of such a fundamental change to a car's suspension system is never a straightforward process. It must be clearly stated that a filming day does not provide the same depth or reliability of data as a full-scale test session conducted during an official Formula One race weekend. The reasoning behind this limitation is quite simple. The environment of a filming day is not competitive by nature, and the amount of running permitted is heavily restricted. Each Formula One team is allowed to cover a maximum distance of 200 kilometers during a filming day, and at least 50 of those kilometers are typically allocated for promotional video footage rather than engineering evaluation. Nevertheless, the data gathered during such a session still holds considerable value for technicians, engineers, and performance analysts. The information collected by Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton at Mugello will now be processed thoroughly using the tools available at the team's headquarters in Maranello. This includes intensive work on the simulator, correlation checks, and comparisons with previous telemetry and wind tunnel results. One of the key objectives is to establish a reliable correlation between the results of aerodynamic tests and those obtained from the dynamic testing bench. Over the past few weeks, the group of engineers under the leadership of Leclerc had reported certain inconsistencies and doubts regarding this correlation, which contributed to a delay in the timeline for introducing this new suspension component. This rear pull rod system is the first major modification on the SF-25 that bears the direct technical influence of French engineer Leclerc, who joined Ferrari to help lead its structural transformation. Expectations surrounding this update are understandably high. There is cautious hope that it could significantly increase the car's efficiency, consistency, and handling balance across various circuits and conditions. While a world championship title unfortunately may no longer be within reach for Ferrari in 2025, the development of the SF-25 remains a critical task. The team is now focusing on proving its ability to react effectively and improve the car's performance during the remainder of the season. Demonstrating that Ferrari can evolve and adapt is essential to lifting the overall morale within the Scuderia, restoring the faith of its worldwide supporters, and re-establishing credibility in the leadership of the organization. Should the updates show promising results, team principal Vasseur may also benefit by regaining some of the trust and confidence that has been eroded during the team's recent struggles. One of the central goals of the test session was to expand the operational window of the SF-25, which has thus far proven to be narrow and difficult to optimize across different tracks and temperatures. The engineers aim to stabilize the aerodynamic load levels throughout all stages of driving, under braking, corner entry, mid-corner balance, and acceleration. According to reports from trackside sources, the general atmosphere within the Ferrari garage at Mugello was focused, calm, and professional. The team executed a carefully structured run plan, maximizing every lap within the tight mileage limitations. Charles Leclerc, the Monegasque racing driver who has been part of the Scuderia Ferrari team since 2019, drove the SF-25 during the morning session. In the afternoon, it was the turn of seven-time Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton, who is currently competing in his debut season with Ferrari after leaving Mercedes at the end of 2024. both drivers completed their programs without incident and provided the technical department with crucial early feedback on the new rear suspension. It is important to keep in mind that of the 200 kilometers permitted during a filming day, a substantial portion is used for promotional filming purposes. This means that engineers must be highly selective about the laps dedicated to actual performance evaluation. Every kilometer counts, and the engineers worked closely with both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton to ensure that the most could be made of each stint on the track. On the day prior to the main SF-25 test, only Guan Yu Zhou, Antonio Fuoco, and Antonio Giovinazzi completed laps at Mugello, driving older specification Ferrari Formula One cars. However, the true focus of attention was always on the new 2025 Challenger. Ferrari's technical staff meticulously prepared a detailed and purpose-built work plan centered not on setting impressive lap times, but on replicating specific vehicle dynamics experienced throughout the first half of the 2025 Formula One World Championship. The objective was to observe and analyze how the updated pull rod suspension interacts with the floor of the car and how it influences the rear-end behavior under various loads and conditions. Fast corners, such as Arrabbiata 1 and Arrabbiata 2 at Mugello, which feature elevation changes and high-speed lateral forces, were ideal for these evaluations. Even slower and more technical corners provided valuable insights into how the new suspension manages mechanical grip and traction. As always, Ferrari's filming day was a completely private and exclusive session, with no public access, conducted on a track owned by the team itself. Within this controlled environment, Scuderia Ferrari is now beginning to collect the first substantial feedback needed to find the right compliance. The balance and synergy between aerodynamic downforce and mechanical behavior that has eluded them so far this season. With both Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton having now completed their respective runs, Ferrari returns to its headquarters with a wealth of new data to examine. In the coming days, engineers will carefully analyze all collected feedback to determine whether this important step in the SF-25's evolution could represent a turning point in what has so far been a complicated and inconsistent 2025 Formula One season for the legendary Italian racing team. As with any technical upgrade in modern Formula One, the journey from concept to performance gain is complex and multi-layered. The data gathered during this filming day will now be integrated into Ferrari's broader development framework, supporting further analysis in the simulator and guiding decisions regarding future race setups. While the testing conditions at Mugello do not perfectly replicate those of a competitive Grand Prix weekend, the controlled environment allowed Ferrari's engineers and drivers to methodically assess the new suspension's behavior. The results of this session may not yield immediate performance leaps, but they form an essential part of the team's long-term efforts to refine and evolve the SF-25. With limited in-season testing opportunities, each run becomes a valuable source of insight. Ferrari remains committed to continuous improvement, and this test symbolizes a step forward in their pursuit of stronger race day performance and technical excellence across all fronts.